Welcome everyone to the fourth round of the European Club Cup Women's Tournament here in Rhodes, Greece. We have Divya Deshmukh with a very big smile on her face. She's looking in good spirits for her game against Leya Garifullina. Leya is a very strong IM with a rating of 2453. She's playing for the team of Sirmium Sremska Mitrovica, and it will be an exciting clash. Divya, until now, has had two draws and one win in 3 rounds. She beat Alexandra Maltsevskaya, but has drawn against, and there you have a handshake, drawn against Gulruk Begim Tokirjonova and Nana Zagnidze. On the top board of this clash is the game of Alexandra Goryachkina and Teodora Inyak. You might see their faces coming into the frame as the camera was placed here. Look at Divya, the focus here. If she manages to win her game today, she will cross 2500 ELO. Adjusting her pieces is Leya there. This will be super exciting. The players shake hands and off we go. Divya Deshmukh opens with 1c4. The English opening is on the board, and Leya adjusts her pieces, and let's see what she responds back with. She plays her pawn to e5. This is, of course, the main line against the English, and knight comes out to c3. And bishop to b4, a very interesting line that was also played at the World Championship match by Gukesh. And Divya goes knight to d5, attacking the bishop on b4. Leya comes back, bishop e7. And now the thing to note is that knight e7 leads to a very comfortable position for black after queen e7. So we have knight to f3 by Divya and pawn to d6, defending the pawn on e5. Pawn comes up to g3. You want to bring your bishop out to g2. And Leya now plays her knight out to f6. A very standard move here. Black is preparing castling, but Divya comes back knight c3. This is the interesting thing about Divya's prep. She knows that keeping the knights on the board would be to her benefit, as she has slightly more space, I must say. The main reason for that more space is because of the pawn on d6, which blocks the bishop on e7. It's not such a great bishop there. Pawn to c6 played, maybe with the idea of d5 or maybe with the idea of e4 followed by d5. Divya does castle. She's not really afraid of this move pawn to e4 because she can just put her knight on the d4 square. Leya plays pawn to h6, a useful move taking into control the g5 square here. And now pawn to e4 played by Divya. A very nice move, gaining space. And next up, she may want to play her pawn to d4 here, but Leya attacks the pawn on c4. Maybe b3 is the right way to defend the pawn. And yes, Divya does play pawn to b3. How will Leya continue here? Well, she plays queen to c8, and she is preparing to put her bishop on h3 and trade it off. Let's see what Divya does. She pushes her pawn to d4. So there isn't particular time to play this because the e5 pawn would be weak. So takes on d4. And now Divya takes back with her knight, which seems like a good decision, attacking the bishop on e6. Leya plays bishop to h3, offering a trade of bishops. And pawn to f3 played, a very useful move. sort of solidifying the pawn on e4. And Leia makes a huge mistake. She has blundered here because pawn to f3 actually took control of the g4 square as well. And now the point is, you can take here, queen takes, and then try to trap the queen there. Notice how knight g4 won't be possible after queen is on h3 because of this move f3. So that's the big point. And let's look at Divya's expression. Has she spotted that she's completely winning? Takes on h3. And Leia takes on h3 with her queen. And now the best move is knight to f5, cutting off the path for the queen to go back, also attacking the bishop on e7. So yes, knight jumps into f5. And now, well, bishop needs to go back to f8 to save itself. But we are on move 15 and Divya is totally better. One amazing move that she now has is to play knight e2 with the idea of knight f4. Goes knight e2, finds it, knight f4 will trap the queen there on h3. So Leia is forced to go g5, but oh my goodness, that's just so weakening. All the squares around the black king are weakened and Divya now plays g4. Another powerful move here by Divya Deshmukh. Pawn to d5, Leia gets a bit desperate here. She's trying to break in the center to get her rook into the game. But one has to remember that the rook is unprotected. So none of these pawns can be taken. Bishop b2 attacks the knight on f6. And now the knight comes back to e8. Knight e8 played here. And Divya comes back to the board. She plays her king to h1. And she is preparing knight g1 to once again trap the queen. My goodness. Bishop c5 played. And bishop stops the knight coming from g1. But you could play that move. Plays it. And the point is now bishop g1, rook g1, rook g3 is also a queen trap. So take. Rook takes. Now you would have loved to play d takes e4 attacking the queen, but the queen would pick up the undefended rook. So knight a6 to connect the rooks here, to save them from each other, to save each other, and now take on e4 is a big threat. And Divya Deshmukh finds the move rook g3 and the queen is totally trapped here. It cannot go anywhere. And Leya Garifullina cannot believe that. Even Theodora Inyak on the next board is kind of shocked. D takes e4 is met with rook h3 and you're a rook down. She resigns. Divya Deshmukh scores a win in just 22 moves. She also crosses 2500 ELO on the live rating list, which is really incredible as Divya moves up on the ladder. She is actually now, she was top 10 in the world, it seems. Just to confirm, she's number 11 now in the world. And it's amazing to see how Divya is progressing.